Hey guys, it's Chris Field. Today we're talking about big data. A lot of this is pertinent to Norway, but big data is sort of used worldwide, of course. So a lot of this stuff, while it does pertain to Norway, also has to do with the rest of the world. Also, bear with me, struggling with COVID. So if I break down and cough in the middle of this, we'll try it again. So, what is big data? Big data refers to data that is so large, fast, or complex that it's difficult or impossible to process using traditional methods. So this really breaks down to three V's, and we'll talk about each one. That's volume, velocity, and variety. Volume is what it sounds like. Massive amounts of data from IoT devices, transactions, social media, imagery, audio, so on and so forth. Velocity, again, pretty much what it sounds like. It is rapid amounts of data that's received from RFID, data streams, sensors, and smart meters. You might notice now there's a lot of overlap between these three V's. So the third V, variety, is data from all formats, structured, numeric data, and traditional databases, unstructured text documents, emails, videos, audio, stock ticker data, financial transactions, etc. So who's using big data? Literally every single industry. So we're going to talk about government here. They use it for utility rates. In America, utility rates are handed down at a state or federal level. So, the guys that you're paying electricity to aren't allowed to just jack up their rates. That's actually something that they are handed down what their prices need to be. Traffic congestion, lights are changed, or there's light cycles are changed based on how many cars pass through at what times. High crime areas, how many violent crimes are happening in an area, or if there's high theft or things like that. So in the banking, the biggest use of big data in banking is minimizing risk. And with that comes compliance, portfolio analytics, etc. The way that they are investing the money that you give them is based off of a lot of the information pulled from big data. So why are we using it? Ultimately, big data is used for the decision-making process. It is used to analyze portfolios in minutes, spot anomalies in any situation in literal seconds. We're even using it to detect fraud real time before the effects are felt in larger organizations. So when did big data become a thing? Really around the 90s was when the term was coined. So as I said here, big data is a term that's been around since the early 90s. Some data back to the Egyptians copying all the data from the Library of Alexander. And by 2020, it was theorized we would have captured over 44 zettabytes of big data. And to put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of 44 trillion gigabytes. Massive. You can see here, I said pretty much the 90s when we started coining the term. A lot of it was based back in the 70s when we started data mining and analyzing all of that sort of information. I'm not going to read absolute over everything here, but you can see in the 2000s when we started analyzing social networking. Facebook's notorious for the amount of personal data they've stolen. If you remember back to MySpace, they did a little bit, and that was just targeted ads on their own platform versus what Google's been doing across the entire internet now. And so, yeah, you can see where we're at today. We are analyzing people as is based off their information. We are aware of everywhere they are and what they are doing. They always say the scariest thing isn't that the government's listening to you. The government has way more means of knowing who you are and what you're doing than just what you're saying.